Okay, so we need to make sure you have lights, obviously, because you don't want to get pulled over when you drive the car. Um, the lighting was definitely janky. The wiring was really messed up, but I ended up fixing it how I could. We got the brake lights to work there. Um, the parking lights weren't working, but the brake lights were, and the turn signals were. So something was wrong on the circuit there. We ended up figuring out it was a blown fuse. But see the reverse lights bright and lit up there. Brake lights are on there as well. See the blinkers are flashing a bit quick. That's because the front ones are still out at this point, because I still need to restore the turn signal housing up front. There it is. We drove it about 5 miles that first day up to my grandma's house. There it is in their driveway. Hood popped, make sure that nothing overheated or the brake line didn't blow. We lost all of our fluid, but it did good. It's a little bit hot in the summer, a bit miserable. Otherwise, it did fine. There it is up the road. With some nice photos there of the car up the road from my house. Another one of it in the driveway there. Here's me actually figuring out the brake pedal with an actual brake light switch. I ended up 3D printing a mounting bracket for the switch you can go buy at the parts store that fits these cars. It just, when it's pressed, the brake lights are off. When the buttons let go, the brake lights turn on. And here you can see me pressing the brakes. And in the video I say lightly tapping to make sure they are working with light pressure, because obviously you want somebody behind you to know when you're stopping. So the second you even think about touching the brakes, they turn on, just for safety. And I'll probably end up adding a third brake light just because some people are dumb and they don't know when you're stopping on an older car. So just about safety. Nice Polaroid here of it at my old high school. Just because I could, I drove it up there. The chrome looks great, the paint looks great. I guess at this point the paint had been polished as well. Didn't even show you guys that at all, I apologize. And the engine bay had been painted as well at this point. And the firewall cleaned up too. So we got all new Rust-Oleum, Rust Reformer enamel paint on the inner fenders there. Of course, you sand it down before you paint stuff, just to the best chance of it actually adhering. Here it is all draped down with trash bags, engine bay, or the engine's covered trash bags as well. Everything's ready for paint there. Craigslist rebuild, as certain somebody, Vice Grip Garage, calls his spray paint jobs, or spray paint jobs in general, but it looks good. For what I could do, it looks good. So yeah, firewall is cleaned up with some SOS pads as well as the entire exterior of the car. All hand scrubbed with SOS pads during the summer. You can see a before and after there with one half of the hood. I mean, that paint was brought back. It is pretty impressive. I mean, there's another good one there. It's pretty impressive how good this car looked after the SOS pads. I mean, it just brought it back to life. I mean, the chrome and the new paint. It's a good looking car when it's all cleaned up. There's the half of the car. I mean, from the pictures you're probably used to seeing at this point, it looks 1,000 times better, and I could not be happier with how it turned out. And SOS pads only cost like $10 for a pack of like 6 or something, so it's not expensive at all. Anyone could do it with any old car. But yeah, at that point the brakes were all done and she could go anywhere at that point. By this time, the farthest I had driven, it was literally 5 or so miles up the road to my grandma's and up to my old high school. So it really hadn't gone far. Plus, it was on the old trailer tires, which are very, very stiff tires. So it wasn't much of a comfortable ride, and not really safe either on old trailer tires. I mean, I'm just not really my thing. So up to that point, it hadn't really gone far, but moving on, it would go farther than ever. After that, we got some new tires for it. Some, I forget what kind of tires these are. Some hand-cooked Kinergies with the white stripe on them. I can't afford white walls. They're ridiculously expensive. But the white stripes, they look great. They look great, and they do what they need to do. Adding a little bit of nice classic class to the Chieftain there. So after this, the car could pretty much go anywhere. So up to this point, November, about 6-7 months in, the car was ready to be driven how it was intended to. And there's a nice picture of it the channel banner at the sunset at my old high school. Just a nice Kansas sunset there. But yeah, up to this point, she was a trooper, and she was ready to go on and spread the love, spread the joy.